Hello, everyone. So, as I promised, my first podcast and the first series of my podcast, which deals with offbeat women. And today I have one such offbeat girl with me. Let me tell you something about her. Her name is Indrayani. She's right in front of you right now. And I'm not going to give a very basic introduction about her. I think she'll tell you more. One thing which I really observed was that she's an avid traveler. You go to her Instagram feed and you will see some beautiful pictures of the places that she has been to, the experiences that she has gained. And I think over the years, I've started realizing that there's just more to her than being just a traveler. I think she does much more than that in her life. And that's why we are here today. We'll get to know a little more about her. We'll get to know a little more about her work. And well, what can she give us in terms of her learning? Let's try to understand that. So, hi, Indrayani, how are you doing today?
Hello, hello. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Thanks a lot. I'm so glad to be part of your first podcast. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm fine too, Indrayani. It's very nice to talk to you today. I know we keep interacting on different levels all throughout the week,
Yeah,
but of course that's for different
yeah,
purpose. That's for work. I think today is a little different because we are not discussing just work, right? So it's something else.
yeah,
Just a very normal conversation, which I'm sure is going to give someone at least one important takeaway out of this. So let's try and hope we can
yeah.
do that.
Yep.
I think I gave a
Let's
very
do it.
basic introduction. I gave a very basic introduction about you. Why don't you tell our viewers about what you do exactly? What's been your career like? How did you reach here basically?
So, I have done BTech in computer science and technology. That into IT kid that wanted to go to US. I was prepping for my GREs and IELTS. And after that, I dropped my plan to go to US and I decided I'll take a job. So I got a job in Mumbai and I was working there. But in the first year of my job itself, I got to know that that is not my cup of tea. I'm not enjoying it, or it was not rather satisfactory for, for me. But I did not know what I wanted to do. So I went on a trip while working, and there I met one girl whose name is Shreya, and she was
Mm-hmm.
working while traveling. So I asked her, "What are you doing?" That was very intriguing for me. I asked her, "What are you doing?" So she used to write content for big brands that time. And I asked her, "How did you learn all this? How are you doing? Are you really earning money from all this?" She said, "Yeah, yeah, I'm earning good amount of money." I asked her, how are you doing? And she taught me a lot of things. Thankfully, she were my roommate too during that trip. And I got to know a lot of things about content writing. And once I came back from that trip, I started learning about it. Got my first few gigs from her itself. So I used to freelance while working my job that time. I remember. So I started learning more about how can I get the freedom to work from anywhere. As you said, I love traveling. So it started from that time that I was just looking for a freedom to work from anywhere. I was confused what to do, and there is so much to do in the digital marketing field. So I decided I'll learn something. I'll keep learning things. I'll see where I land up. So during COVID, I came back to my home. I was working in the same company itself. And then I thought that let's take a break. I'll figure out what I want to do. And then I got one good offer from a startup and I worked for them. They wanted someone to work in digital marketing. So it was plus add-on for me. So I worked there for 2.5 years and then I started my own firm after working there for 2.5 years in digital marketing itself. So yeah, here I am. It's been a year since I have started my own thing. Yeah. And you play a big role in my journey as well, I feel. Thanks a lot for that.
Well, that's always good to hear, isn't it? With me playing a big role, it's always good to hear something like this when you're interviewing
Yeah,
someone,
yeah.
which is great. But it's fantastic to hear your story, Indrayani. But which brings me to a very important question at this point. There are a lot of myths associated with all industries and all sectors. So, what are the common myths that you have heard or you have sort of experienced throughout your journey, and what do you think about them?
Yeah, in my field, that is social media marketing. Everybody thinks that once you get the strategy which is working, you can just copy it for every business. But it doesn't work like that for every business. So every business is different in its own unique. Sorry. In reality, every business is unique and requires personalized approach to achieve growth. So there is no magic formula or secret strategy that works for everyone. It takes careful analysis and experimentation to determine what works best for every business.
Yep, great. It's that actually very nice to know that, because I think when you work in a field for the first time, and I think you begin experience a lot of things together, there is a room for a lot of confusion in the head, right? You can get confused
Yes,
about a lot of things, meeting new people, doing new things. But I think that's probably the challenge of being in a new field, of trying something new in your life, right? But as we were
right.
talking about the myths, which is always associated with some, and in fact not some, all the sectors, as we were saying that. Uh, but for every field, I do feel that there is a specific trait, a personality trait that can help you. Maybe just that little bit, it can add that 20% of push that you need. You actually feel that in your field of digital marketing, do you actually need a
Mm.
specific personality trait or something that has actually worked for you? You can actually tell me that would really help.
Yeah, the most important personality trait I feel that in any industry for that matter is resilience. As an entrepreneur and business person, uh, you will innovative, sorry, you will face many challenges and setbacks along the way. The ability to bounce back from those obstacles and stay focused on your goals is very essential.
But let me also ask you a couple of personal questions now, right? The first one being, is there something which is misunderstood about you a lot of times? I know there could be a
Yeah,
lot of things, because in our personalities, I think we all will be misunderstood at some point by people. But since we are into a
right.
different field of entrepreneurship, I don't know if it affects certain people more than the others. But is there something which is misunderstood about you that you feel that you have noticed?
Yeah. People often misunderstand that being an entrepreneur means having a lot of free time and flexibility in your schedule. However, in reality, it's quite opposite. As an entrepreneur, I'm constantly working to grow my business, which often means that long hours and sacrificing personal time. People also tend to underestimate the amount of hard work and dedication it takes to build a good business.
Absolutely. True. Very true. Again, the reason I asked you this was because a lot of people that I meet, a lot of the entrepreneurs that I end up meeting, the one complaint that they might have is that this aspect of my business is not understood by people, so it adds to a little bit of frustration in their life. Not that it is a big deal, because I do believe as entrepreneurs you have just so many things to take care of, and you see failure and success almost every day in different forms, right? One day is a really successful day, the other one might be completely down. So these are some of the things that I'm sure you and me, even as entrepreneurs, we both might be dealing with, but we all have different styles of dealing with them, right? But as you
Right.
said, I think very rightly, these kind of misunderstandings do exist, and that's where we have to fight them day in day out. So, which brings me to a very
Yes.
interesting question next up that I want to ask you. Now, everyone is productive at different stages in their career, even on a day-to-day basis. Some people are more productive, some people are less. Again, it depends on your personality. But do you have a productivity hack which could be useful for people listening in tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. You are right. I am productivity freak. My personal favorite productivity hack for all the entrepreneurs out there is to prioritize your tasks and focus on most important things at first. I like to create daily to-do lists and rank each item in order to importance of that task. This helps me to stay track on the progress towards my work every day. And additionally, I try to limit my distractions, such as social media notifications, uh, to create intense focus
Great, fantastic.
by turning off
Again,
all my notifications.
yes, which
Yeah,
could
correct.
be, I think, a very disturbing thing these days because we just have so many apps in the
So
phone. Very true. I think
yeah.
that is something we all should try. In fact, even I try it on a day-to-day basis to make sure that I don't get distracted a lot of times, and it's very good that you're doing it. But there are times in Rani when we all go through a slump.
Yeah.
Times which are hard, times which are tough. I'm sure you have seen some of it with whatever journey you have done so far. How do you get out of it? Is there something specific that you do?
Yeah, as you said, all days are not good. We feel setback sometimes. We feel other day, one day I feel very low, and other time I'm very pumped up to work. So when I feel myself in a work slump or a rut, I try to take a step back and assess the situation. Sometimes I take a short break, uh, try something different than my work. I talk to my friends and family, or I also find it helpful to set small and achievable goals and celebrate progresses along the way. Additionally, seeking inspiration from the successful people from my industry and watching their videos help me a lot. Like
Great.
multiple Josh talks recently. I'm going through a lot of Josh talks. They motivate me in some way
Wonderful.
when I feel low.
Wonderful. It's great. Wonderful. I think we all would find one source of inspiration, right? It could be anything. As you said, it could be a Joe Stocks video or a TEDx talk video, which could just give you
Right.
that push which you need on a given day. uh, since it's something that we experience, all of us might be experiencing. I'm not just talking about entrepreneurs. I think even people who work every day on a job would also have a day where they would experience a slump. So I think it is very important to make sure that you are always up for it. Even if there is a slump, you will challenge it and then get out of the rut. So I think that's something very important that you have said. uh, at the same time, what also happens is that in every field, again in every sector, there is a particular status quo which doesn't get challenged a lot. So people say this is how things are, and this is how it remains, right? So is there something in your life which you feel was a status quo that you challenged?
It's not really status quo right now. So, you know that this business industry used to be driven by a lot of men, but nowadays you see a lot of women entrepreneurs. Even in the Shark Tanks, we see women more than men. So I feel, yeah, this is the status quo I'm challenging right now.
Great. And see, that's why I'm talking to you today, because I think that's what I feel. This particular series that I've started is for women like you, to just tell
Right.
other women that it is possible for someone like you to challenge everything. I'm sure every single point of time in your life as you began your career, there could be a lot of small things that would have challenged you, would have told you that this isn't possible, but you kept at it, and that is the reason you're here today talking to me about it. So that actually is fantastic for a lot of women to understand and maybe learn from, right? Now, through every sector in industry, what happens is that we tend to learn a lot because we meet different people at different times, and every communication has a specific goal, especially in terms of businesses. So, if I could ask you, what is one important lesson you have learned so far, being in this particular sector of yours?
So some of the industry lessons, no, I have learned two most important lessons.
Mm-hmm.
So, first one is the importance of continuous learning and adaptation. The value, and second one is the value of building strong relationships with customers and partners. So, and the need of resilience and persistence in the phases of challenges. I've also learned the importance of failure as a learning opportunity and using it to improve and grow.
Great, great. Nice to hear that. Again, because as I said, what I've observed is that we sometimes miss the lessons in our journey. We do go through the motions every day. We get up in the morning, do our work, and then sleep in the night thinking, what, we have had a fantastic productive day. But did we get a lesson out of it? I don't know if all of us focus on that a lot. So if you are able to do it and find at least one thing which at some point of time you learn out of all this, then it would make a lot of difference in your career, as I'm sure it would to a lot of people who are listening in today. Something interesting for you to answer now. I think I do ask people to give me a takeaway, because the reason for the takeaway is we all again come from different backgrounds, we have studied different things, and our goals are different as well. But for everyone, there could be some takeaways which they would carry with them. So, through this conversation, I want to ask you, what are some of the takeaways you want the listeners to carry with them?
Uh, I hope listeners takes away the importance of resilience, passion, and dedication in pursuing their goals and building successful businesses.
I know you are a very avid reader, and whenever I sometimes go on the Instagram platform and see some of your stories, I would at least see one book there sometimes, something that you're reading. So, any recommendations that you feel our listeners should actually read? Any books that you recommend? Let's say three books that you recommend at this point.
Yeah. The first book I would love to recommend everyone is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. So this book is beautiful story about following your dreams and pursuing your passion. It reminds us that sometimes journey is more important than destination. Second book would be Atomic Habits. This book provides practical advice on how to build good habits and break bad ones. It's a great resource for anyone looking to improve their productivity and achieve their goals. And third book would be Eat That Frog. This book is great book if you're looking for something to read for time management. That's
Good recommendations. So I hope people who are listening in today, or maybe would watch this video, they would actually get hold of these books and, well, read them, get to learn something. I think reading books is a fantastic habit to have. I know I am developing it. You are the one who has already developed it, so that is great for you. And hopefully, with all the things that you read, again, as I keep saying, you get one good takeaway from it, right? So as we end this show today, Indrayani, we are coming to the close of this. I know I've promised my audience that I'll not exceed 20 minutes, so I'm being very very cautious about it. So can you describe yourself in one line?
one line. I I would say focused and fabulous. That is what my Instagram bio is.
Great. I think that's a good note to end. I think that's a fantastic note to end this. So, viewers, thank you very much for joining in today. I hope that you got to learn something from this conversation I had with Indrayani. And she's there on LinkedIn. Please go ahead, connect with her. She's got a fantastic brand going, which is Tweak and Boost. She does good work in digital marketing. It's time you guys connect with her. I'm not doing any publicity here, guys. So let's not take this as promotion. Just trying to connect one good person to another good person, and we all get something out of it. Thank you very much. Until the next time, let's connect for a next episode of this series. Don't forget to tune in and leap up. Thank you very much. Bye bye.